Hey everybody, welcome to the Daily Space Weather. Lots of stuff to cover today. We see a coronal mass ejection. We see a comet sighted. There's a new sunspot out there, and we'll be talking about a gamma ray pulsar. First, we'll look at the coronagraph at the SOHO LASCO C2. And you can see that comet there probably diving into the sun, as I don't see it emerging on the other side, but it's a pretty short run we've got. Fantastic view of that, a little bit unexpected. Looks like a rocket launched. By the way, that's located right here where it says Discover. That's where that spacecraft is located. Here's another view of the same area here. It looks like it's actually a double, as we can see one out here as well. Some missing data there on the LASCOs as well, and hopefully that will return. Here's a view from the SDO. And this is 94 angstroms. Let me shrink that down. New sunspot located right here, at least when I did show prep, there were umbrae. Also, you can see an active region rising there, not a sunspot yet. And down here in the southwest as well, sunspot 2776 has remained fairly stable here. Let's go out to Lagrange point 5, as we saw a coronal mass ejection as well. Lagrange point 5 is where stereo A is located, viewing the sun from this sort of orientation. And we see a coronal mass ejection here on the non-Earth facing side of the sun. So a great view of that, and it looks like there's still more fireworks to come, as this large plume of plasma here has yet to fully eject. And we would anticipate that it will throughout the day. If you want to look at this yourself, it's all part of the Integrated Space Weather Analysis System. ISWA, the ISWA. You can find it by doing a web search. And we can also see that comet right here. In fact, we get a better view of it from stereo A than we even got at LASCO. So a great example here of an unexpected visage of a comet. Just one of the many things that we cover here at the Smash News Network. The least busted name in news, and there's been a bunch of busted names in news, just not us. And here you can see this sunspot that's spontaneously formed here in front of that active region. We'll see if it's still there by the end of the show. Here's the view in 304 angstroms. Some big filaments up there in the northeast as well. And here's a animated view of that, the full disk in 304 angstroms. So lots of activity kicking up here compared to where the sun's been. Welcome to the Cycle 25. Welcome to the Neo-Renaissance. And here's that region in the northeast. Allow me to get off screen. So some great plasma filaments there in the 171 angstroms view, and a good view of that active region, as well as a new sunspot. So interesting stuff going on. Here's 304 angstroms, fully zoomed in on sunspot 2776. And you can see a little bit of ejecta there, it looks like, coming out of this active region here as well. Or perhaps collapsing back down. In any case, let's do one more custom view, a close-up of the same area in 171 angstroms. And it's pretty spectacular. Great view there, sunspot 2776. We'll let it play through one more time for your close-up solar viewing pleasure. Looks like it's probably still a beta class, although the trailing umbrae are very small, if they still exist at all. The 10.7 centimeter radio flux, a measure of the radio output intensity of the outer solar corona at 75. So there's that, along with sunspot number progression over the past solar cycle. Again, welcome to Cycle 25. The KP index, a measure of global geomagnetism, still at 1 for the past 6 hours. We see some missing X-ray data here. Did we get a flare? Well, who knows. But it's relatively flatlined over the past 24 hours. Actually, the past 3 days. There's the 3-day proton flux graph. No big strikes there. Next, looking at the real-time solar wind. to see the phi angle has shifted right as I was doing show prep here. And the BT-BZ has shifted as well. Current BT-BZ is 6 for the BT and positive 6 for the BZ. Current phi angle has just come off of the 180 degree range and dropped down to 117 degrees. Like a coronal hole magnetic connection has just ended. Solar wind density currently at about 7.74 protons per cubic centimeter. Solar wind speed 389 kilometers a second. And we are awaiting a minor geomagnetic unrest / storm here. And don't be surprised to see the solar wind density suddenly jump up here throughout the day. We've got some missing data here on the geospace magnetosphere movies also. So that's data from all the way back at 1:44 Universal Time, which is back around here. And I don't see anything major happening there. Looks like some anomalous looking stuff. That's an indication of high density. I don't know what's going on with that. And also the ground magnetic perturbation maps for geospace magnetosphere movies also still frozen up, showing us data from 1:44 Universal. Next, looking at the GOES magnetometer, but first looking at the life of the stream, and we are streaming live to Twitch. It's twitch.tv/smAsho. Thanks to everybody who follows us there. So once again, we saw high highs and high lows on the GOES magnetometer readings. Nothing too exciting happening there. Here's the top view ecliptic plane field plot showing us the current sheet's polarity. North Pole in green, South Pole in red. And not a lot going on there. Keep in mind the data is an hour and 43 minutes old and can suddenly change. Here's the line of sight field plot, and you can see some big poles in the eastern portion of the B field. And for your new viewers out there, the eastern portion of the sun is on your left, and the western portion of the sun's on your right, because solar activity sets over here, and it rises over here. That's why we call that the east, and the other side the west. You can see that active region there in the northeast has had some effects on that B field there, shown in blue. Next, we're going to look at the coronal magnetic field plot. And we see some stuff going on with the south solar polar region here. And that part of the reason why we can even show that is because we're currently in the North Pole current sheet. Keep in mind this shows potential field force lines, and those are open potential field force lines in black, closed potential field force lines in pink, and coronal hole field force lines in purple. Today's smAsho Light segment is going to be a little bit truncated, as we don't want the video to be too long, as there are some things to talk about. Allow me to reappear. Yeah, today's smAsho Lights is going to be integrated, and it's not going to be very lengthy. Regarding COVID, we're not even going to talk about it. We're going to talk cosmology for a quick moment. Let's talk about the Black Widow pulsar. It's quite interesting. First, we're going to talk about the first direct observation of an exoplanet. It's Pictoris C. And there you can see that. Now, I don't spend a lot of time covering exoplanets because I'm more interested in more significant aspects of cosmology, such as heliophysics. However, since our viewership appreciates this kind of story, this article's on SciTech Daily, and we have upgraded the forum here, smashomash.com/forum. We've got a cosmology forum there and a thread titled The Most. And there's a new entry, so we updated this yesterday and today. Yesterday, the most powerful magnetic field seen in a Type O star, and a very complex magnetospheric structure indicating that it may have stellar spots, for example. And that's all in the galaxy 1624, NGC 1624. Record-setting gamma rays detected from the Black Widow pulsar. The pulsar is called J1653-0158, and it's an interesting system to say the least, as this has a compact object orbiting a very massive object. And it's doing it at a ridiculous speed of 700 kilometers per second. So yeah, this is an interesting object to say the least. There's where it's located. And it's very dark in every aspect of the spectrum except for gamma rays. It's got a very highly ionized disk of dust around it. The center of the pulsar is believed to be only 20 kilometers in size. And the remnant dwarf star orbits at just 1.3 times a lunar distance. So LD times 1.3, lunar distance times 1.3, and it makes this orbit in only 75 minutes at a speed of more than 700 kilometers per second. A star moving at the speed of a high-speed solar wind. Interesting? Well, there ends today's cosmology segment. Again, a normal part of the Smash News Network and the Daily Space Weather. Again, check us out on Twitch if you haven't. You may see the videos live. It's twitch.tv/smashamash. Thanks to everybody who's subscribed over at YouTube. We've seen an increase in our subscribers, and we greatly appreciate that. Tell your friends and foes, science noobs and science pros. If you know an influencer, if you know anybody you'd like us to interview, let us know. We're about to start a new playlist, interviews with people. And one other thing, we just recently shared this video, which has been remonetized on Manual Review. Shout out to YouTube for doing the right thing. Here's a little clip from our video titled Putrid Pathetic Pushers of Propaganda Propose Political Party Plutocracies. Let me say it again. Putrid Pathetic Pushers of Propaganda Propose Political Party Plutocracies. That's called consonants, folks.
Now, I know in Pennsylvania there have been a massive amount of Republican registrations as well. And thanks to idiots like Tom Wolfe, the state has been turned into a war state.
So if you want to see that video, it's not buried in search anymore. It's been remonetized. Putrid Pathetic Pushers of Propaganda Propose Political Party Plutocracies. We are also on BitChute thanks to our subs over there. And wherever you're watching, please share the content. Let your friends and foes know. Here ends another episode of the Smashlights. Moving on to talk about the electron flux. And the electron flux cratered yesterday as I forecasted it would, but we didn't really see that coronal hole wind stream yet. So NOAA's forecasting this to increase, and I'm forecasting it to stay flat or slightly decrease. There's the 3-day electron flux graph. That includes greater than and equal to 2 mega electron volts. Here's a visualization of the total electron content all the way up to the thermosphere, and we see once again some anomalies here over North America. You can see around the US-Canada border some big-time blobs of electrons up there. And the reason that we show this is because it does have an effect on GPS. So for anybody who's on the equator, I'm sure you're well aware that your GPS will be off by possibly thousands of miles if you're running that GPS at noontime without things like Wi-Fi accuracy enabled. Here's just one slice of the atmosphere, just the ionosphere. And we'll see if it's looking anomalous, as we do most days here at the Smash News Network. Yes, the least busted name in news. Don't forget to read our scrolling marquee on the bottom of the screen, by the way. If you missed the scrolling marquee down there, it's right there. It's a bunch of purple letters, see? Least busted name in news. Our marquee always has some tasty stuff. Gotta have it. So the ionosphere is looking pretty normal here. Nothing to write home about there. Here's the latest image at 9 o'clock Universal Time. Here's what's going on above my head. I like to use in-the-sky.org to create star charts. Where will you be when Cygnus sets? I'll be doing a live stream. It's just about to set now. Here's what's going on in the solar system. There's where things will be in 1 week. On October 30th, the second last day of our promotional code. And we did see a large earthquake here at extreme depth near the Fiji Islands. It was a 6.1 magnitude quake in the rift zone north of New Zealand. and it was at a depth of 463.9 kilometers. Let's go over the last 24 hours of quakes. So a bunch of deep quakes here. Here's a deep one at the Philippines. Pardon my scroll. Also, we see one at the Mid-Atlantic Ridge there. There's another quake at the Fiji Islands at a greater depth and a lesser magnitude. Possibly 4 shocks for a larger quake there. We also saw a 6 magnitude quake on the West Chile Rise, so a slight increase in earthquakes here, as well as some deep quakes in the likely spots. Afghanistan seeing another 4.4 magnitude quake at depth. And there's that 6.1 that came in at 7:04 Universal Time. When I was watching Peter Schiff's latest video about how he's going to be suing, he's currently suing 60 Minutes Australia. If you haven't watched that, we shared it on our feed also. If you're on YouTube, you should see that on our feed. Let's go over volcanoes. We see an uptick at volcanoes as well. Mount Etna back to erupting. Karimsky back to erupting, producing a 6,000-foot ash plume. And Bezimiani remains on the list, still producing a 31,000-foot plume of ash. Please don't attempt to hang glide over the caldera. It's very cold on the Kamchatka Peninsula. Mount Abiko is also erupting. Flight level 100, 10,000 feet. Semeru exploding. Flight level 140, 14,000 feet. Popocatépetl back on the list, exploding, 20,000-foot ash plume there. Some lava flows on Revenador as pictured, as it's still producing a 15,000-foot plume of ash, and Sabancay is exploding as well. 24,000-foot plume of ash there. Here's your weather.gov map, and talk about some winter storm warnings, winter weather advisories, hard freeze warnings, frost advisories, etc., all over the north-central portion of the U.S. as the jet stream injects cold air from Canada. Yes, and there you can see the jet stream injecting cold air from Canada, as well as extreme meridional jet stream flow. Looks like it's going to be a pretty cold day in the Caribbean. And we see lots of lightning, too. We'll get to that in a minute. Here are the eastern world's jets. And that's the 250 hectopascal nullschool.net data. And we still see the jet stream blowing backwards over the Indian Ocean and the Western Pacific. East to west instead of west to east. Next, we brought up a snow depth chart instead of the pressure map here on windy.com. Windy.com's got a great mobile app. And they've also got things like real-time snow maps. So let's do a forecast here by visualizing the snowfall. And we're going to let this advance till Monday at 7 o'clock to see how much snow you're going to get over the weekend. Let's just advance it. So there's the Euro forecast. And I guess I can't click on the other forecast. I don't understand it. Oh, there we go. Nope. Anyway, there's the Euro forecast through the weekend. And about 1/3 of the country is going to be blanketed. Next, looking at lightningmaps.org, and we see some lightning striking in northern Texas. Shout out to Dallas. Glenn Beck, if you're watching the show, talk about us on your show. Become a patron. And realize that there is thunder rolling in, dudes. Wow. Check it out. 2 major cells here. Maybe a good time to see some sprites with that much lightning striking. And there's quite a bit of lightning, too. In the Caribbean, you can see some in the Atlantic Ocean as well. Here's the current lightning mapper. It's the NASA GOES 16. Let's just let that play for a minute. Major lightning there over northern Texas. If you're within about 80 kilometers of that, go outside and look above the storms. Take some time-lapse photography. You may see some sprites. And, reach out to spaceweather.com and put them up on their site. They will put up photos of sprites, red elves, and green goblins and whatever other weird stuff you see going on above giant thunderstorms. So 2 very concentrated cells there, as well as a long band about 1,500 miles long, going all the way from the Great Lakes region and north into Canada down into Oklahoma and Texas, as well as a bunch of snow falling in the north central. We also see a hurricane-like system there just east of Bermuda. And let's take a look at the clouds here over Texas. Even though it's dark, we can use the NASA GOES interactive weather satellites shortwave radiation. And no, those aren't gravity waves. That's 2 separate systems at different altitudes creating a massive pressure gradient. We'll show you on the water vapor map in a minute, but that's what's going on there in terms of the clouds. Here's a water vapor map, and we're going to zoom in on that same region to give folks an idea of where these things are headed. And you can see this is actually part of an upper level low that's kind of moving in like this. And that is at a different altitude than that dry air down there. It's moving over the top of it. And that's why that looks that way. Anyway, there's the motion of those things, and you get there's a bit of a scissors action going on in this area here. Those shouldn't take all that long to resolve, and let's zoom in again here at the border of Illinois and Wisconsin. Illinois and Wisconsin. There you go. That should give you some idea of what's going on with those storms. They're moving almost perfectly northeast. Thanks to our patrons, the real source of funding for the content. Please consider becoming a patron if you haven't already done so. It's patreon.com/smAsho. Look for the tiers to be completely changing at the end of the year. We currently have 9 tiers just for your convenience. Look for less tiers at the end of the year. Thanks to the Smash team for tuning in. Again, please don't forget to share on your social media. Head to smashomash.org, smashomash.com, etc. Visit our links and all of that. When you do so, you can click on the forum. We've got an affiliate link. We've dipped our tippy toe into the Amazon affiliate space. Check out our shopping list there if you haven't done so. 2 Teespring stores and a forum. Go to the forum if you want to win this shirt. The entry deadline is Monday at midnight. And on the 27th, we will announce the winner. You can't even buy that one yet, although you can buy any of these. Today's featured shirt is, I've survived a global pandemic so far. How about in black? It's got a Grim Reaper motif and a giant coronavirus on our website. Thanks for flying American Smashways. Please keep your head and arms inside the Smash plane at all times, as we've got bonus features. We're going to show you the 335 angstroms 48-hour full disc SDO video. We're going to show you a colorized magnetogram, and we're going to show you an intensitygram. First, the colorized magnetogram. And that currently does indeed look like a sunspot on the magnetogram. Here's sunspot 2776. And there's a close-up of sunspot 2776. It's still pretty stable. And I'm pretty sure I see some trailing umbrae there, which means it still could be beta class, and you can see some dark spots up here, meaning that's a sunspot too. And I think that might even be beta class as well, indicating a slightly higher likelihood of solar flares and coronal mass ejections. Let's take a look here. I think that is 2 opposite polarity umbrae there. I'm going to say that's a beta class sunspot, at least for now. And here's the 335 angstroms view. Thanks for tuning in. Remember to stare at the sun, don't drink it. If you do, don't drive. Attempt to understand the physics. Visit the forum, visit our links, try to support the channel if possible, as we are tanking here, and we honestly really do need your help. Thanks again to our patrons, etc. Look for more content coming soon. We may make another video today. It's a secret as to who the guest host will be. And it's about that time. We are out. See you next time. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to the Neo Renaissance, and may that solar wind be at your back.